Again in Marshall County with the Oral History Microphone, and today we're visiting in the home of Homer Sirls. Now this is Aurora community on Highway 80. It's just a little bit out of town on the road toward Hardin, right next to Ferguson Springs Baptist Church to be exact. And we thank you for letting us come, Mr. Sirls. Could you tell us how old you are?
Well, I can get somewhere close. You see, I was born the 5th day of June, 1901.
All right. And where are you born in Marshall County?
Right down yonder. Right.
You can practically see where you were born from right here. Is this the old home place?
No, it's under the water right now. But it's right down here close to this big filter plant. Down there, close.
Yeah. So the embayment of Kentucky Lake put your old home place underwater.
Underwater. That's right. Where I was born. I've lived here in Marshall County most all my life, but there's the birthplace.
Well, I'm sort of kin to you in that regard. I was born over here near Barnett Cemetery, Jim Will Barnett's place, and that's underwater.
The Sirls Cemetery is just right on down towards that Cedar Knob there.
Cedar Knob Resort.
Yeah,
yes.
You come in through Olive.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'll turn you right, and there's Sirls Cemetery right up there.
Who was your father?
James Henry, but they called him Jim.
Jim, yeah.
Yeah.
And your mother who was she?
She was Ella Jane Odom.
Odom. So you had the Odoms and the Sirlses there.
Yeah.
Now, were you lucky enough to see or remember the grandparents on either side?
No, I can remember my grandmother Odom, but on the Sirls I can't remember them, and Grandpa Odom I can just sort of remember him. But anyhow, they was Odom's right down here, and the Sirls right over in the back of the dinner bell on this road. Yeah.
Well, being born where you were, where did you go to school?
First one's right here below Union Ridge Church, and Robert Smith.
What was the name of that school?
That was Union Ridge.
Union Ridge, yeah. All right. Okay.
The first teacher was Robert Smith out of Benton. He boarded with Uncle Bay Sirls and taught school. Horace Collins got his home on the foundation of that old schoolhouse. And I went 2 years there. Dad had bought 6-acre place down there from a fellow named Riley Matthews, and he wanted to go to Missouri and homestead on that line. Bought for 6 acres, $300, big old house and side room and stable and everything. And then my mother had 13 acres over here back by this filter plant. So then he sold that and bought part of a big log home down there in the bottom. Poplar logs, the finest in the country, 3 big rooms, and moved some over there and built on that ridge down there by the filter plant. And then he built on my mother's 13 acres, and then later on Claire hired a big farm from the Fawns when he married her. And as a Bam died, and his widow wanted to sell one east to him, a good one, and so he bought it. And they got Dad then to move down there, and had all kind of teams, tools, barns, and everything. And so
your dad was a farmer then.
What's called a sharecropper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know all about that.
I'd say, well, why in the world? He said, well, I get to keep all of my half, and they have to use their grains of feeding their stocks, and furnish all the equipment. I'd rather be this way, So he was a big trapper, and I'd come in, he got the varmints out of the
he got some extra money by trapping what?
Minks and coons.
Oh my! Mink hides they bring a lot of money.
Them big ones, $25 a piece. They got where it was worthless. You wouldn't even bring nothing. You see. Now they've done pretty good, and now they're dropping back down again. But anyhow, one year Saul Roach's fur buyer down there, and he come through his last trip. Then he had so many days to ship them, and bought 3 or 4, had and said, Jim, you know how many mink skins? He called them mink skins at the both from you this time? No, I carried some to Birmingham 3 or 4 times, sold them down there. He said, well, I bought 23 head off of you. And it's running a good average of $20 a piece, you see.
Yeah,
and then you get half.
Good money.
But this dark fur last few years, it made good money, and then got where we couldn't raise it. I rode up on the plans of Bachelor. 1935, I quit.
Yeah. You quit raising tobacco way back in 1935?
Yeah, man, I was married, and it was getting worse and worse, and I got enough of it. And I told my wife, I said, now this year I'm going to count every hour from burning the plant beds till I get my check. And I wound up, and see, I was working on a house, Dolphin Cross. He had what, 850 acres and all kind of stuff, you know. He got half of it, and I figured up my half, and I made $1.35 a day. And I said, that's it, I'll do something else. What are you going to do? I said, I may have to go back to carpentering. But I had to carpenter a little for Dillon Sirls, and on the fall year, he'd build a bungalow there at his ranch house, no gables, you know, come to a diamond point up here.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody couldn't build them here. They didn't even wait 2 years on them, saw the rough stuff get dealt and served up in Callaway County.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, you want this or you want to talk about something else?
Well,
You have
that's
to tell me
fine.
when.
That's fine. Did you ever hear of Wilburn Sirls?
Well, I pay him a lot of my
Insurance money.
He knows when I get a check, and I got to go. 2 old cars, you know, in the home. I said, he knows just when payday was, so I have to give it to him.
Well, let's get back.
You're a second cousin, you see.
Yeah, good. Let's get back to school a minute, and you tell us about some of the games you played at school.
Well, now we played a little marble over here, and the main game back in them early days was Devil in the Gully. That's find a gully, you know, and
Mhm.
that flint rock so far, and the devil had to get out of that flip a coin, you know, and half would be on one bank and half the other. And then when the time come, this half had to cross, and if the devil could catch you, you had to go out. He got to go out and play, and you got to be the devil, see. And that was the main game back here. And that is what they call Sandy Ridge. That's right over here with the filter plant.
Yes, sir.
It went from Smith to Arthur Travis lived right over yonder. You know where old Heights is? And,
Yes, sir.
well, now he lived there, and he walked across.
Wasn't there a Travis that ran a store at our
Oh, yeah. I got the axe bowl from him, a bluegrass $1 and 75 cents with a handle on a barrel full of them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And $1 and 75 cents. They'd laying that out the handle for $1, you know, same axe. And I made handles for years for 50 cents a piece, and
Yeah.
I'd get it made if I wanted to put an axe. I'd knock the other one out and put the new one in there for 50 cents, you know. File a saw for a quarter. I started filing saw at 14 years old.
Were you pretty good at saw filing?
Well, I was world's champion.
That's good.
What did you say if you seen an axe filer come in out of the woods? They had got to check axes in the middle of the morning, middle of the evening. Handful of them and lay them on a plank. I want to get your rule. I said, she's right up there in that box. You work here. So he began to, I said, what are you doing? Got up a bed? Yeah, I got a bed, a big saw foreman down there. I finally shaving a foot long. There, he took off one. A little bit down to come my uniform. Mine Rachel Bradford, and he started to fire.
You mean you could sharpen the saw so sharp, a crosscut saw,
Yeah.
that it'd make a
13-inch one.
13 inches.
Yeah. But what had come this to happen, I got cutting against old Benfield. He took the last 5 down, best one they ever had. Well, I was too old and that. They wasn't going to harm me, you see.
Mm-hmm.
But I went to Hale's office here in Murray and Hold'em. And used to live in Benton, and me and him bass fished together, see. And they went in and wanted to see Mr. Hale. And, oh, you can't see him, too busy men. Can't be the stove. How's him bass doing? I said, well, I give 18 good in the way I got to go to work. And I just told him help yourself and 2 like to fit on there. But I said, I come talk to Mr. Hale. I'm a saw filer, and I want a job with him, and done got 2 or 3 units going down. Well, you have to give me your message and me refer it. Well, I waited 2 weeks and didn't hear him. I went back, same old thing about that. I said, now I want to talk to Mr. Hale. Well, he's too busy, man. You have to give me your message and I'll refer it. Come on back home. Well, over the weekend, there's one of these wagons, see, sitting on one bank. He went down, and then his little piece, and then went off into the creek, and I parked my A-model on this old big maple here, and my boat was locked to the willow line, and I set one of them big things that was 5'10" over, and the axe filer was going up the bank, and the man was back to me, and I had my ice and my Pepsi coolers, yes, Pepsi's in, and my thongs, and my glasses, and lunch and everything still there, you see. And when I got around this spring and maths, I went to school with him 3 years right over at that school.
Mm-hmm.
We rode up together, and back then that started $1 an hour, and labor just 50 cents an hour, maybe with knee pads cutting
Mm-hmm.
low. And I said, good land, Freeman, how come you to be so lucky to get this good job so quick? Well, just knowing the right guy at the right time, saying the right word. Well, that didn't help me. He wasn't no mason, I know that. and I wouldn't either. But I just started, and I come on them big black cars, that white sign, and by gosh, the dust of fogging, and got out, straightened up, and he's taller in the car, and had on in his four slippers that long. I never seen nothing, but didn't say anything, you know. And just got him action, touched a few, he took right back up the road to walk, and he got out where he couldn't. I said, "Good land, Freeman, what was that?" That is it. I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "That's the head of all that. He's over the dam, he's over the reservoir clearance, that's the high as it goes." I said, "What's he going to do with that?" "Oh, he's got a big garden there in Murray, and he's got tomatoes and beans, you ought to see. He's cutting beans sticks, stick them with, and he lays them where you can see the ends of them out of grass up there." And I knowed where they were, you see. And the truck takes them to him at night. I said, "Now, he get the man job filed, so he won't talk to you about it all. He's going to say 4 or 5 words to me." I just put my stuff back in the car and walked up there. It wasn't very far. I knowed where it were. You see, his elms in under a big timber, no brush on him, no, just get your leg and cut him off. He had about 6 land. Of course, he'd done talking with that and spoke, you know. Later down, turned back, said, "Could I help you?" And I said, "Well, I hope you can. I'm Homer Sirls. You Miss Patty Miller?" "Yes, sir." I said, "Now, I live on the first hill out here on the left, and you go near the Maple Spring and the salt fowler, and I need a job."
The world's best.
No, I didn't get to that. That wound up before we quit. Got against that Benfield. He'd come with 5 down the boat, busting everything. But what he happened, he said, I said, "Well, I'm a salt fowler and I need a job with him." And he said, "They don't hire no salt fowler." I suppose folk law, I get louder.
That's all right. You just go right ahead, just like you are.
Just like me and Patty Miller, you know.
Yeah.
So I stepped off the road, you see, an old haul road, sand, and a little old bush, and ended up he's cutting that down there, and he got it down and turned around, and when he said, "Can I help you?" You know, and I said, "Well, I hope you can. You Mr. Patty Miller." And I said, "I'm Homer Sirls, I'm a salt fowler, and I live on the first hill right out there on the left, go out to Mayfield, and I done the sawing down here, and I need a job." He said, "Now, they don't hire no salt fowlers." I said, "No, how they get them?" Said, "They meant all these tools goes out fresh, 65 in the regular unit, 85 in the bank unit, and before they get it, as soon as they get lined up, he'll ask who you want on the saw and who wants this, and then he'll go around. 'You know a man in this crew's good salt fowler?' "Yeah, so and so files." Bring him up there and half an hour a day so they can tell. You get 12-day training before you get in ready, you know. And if you ain't see they can't do it, then they'll pick another one. That's where you get them. I said, "Well, I'm too old and I won't bother you." He said, "Well, you wait just a minute. Now, we stand here on this ridge and down there at that creek, and you say you're a salt fowler." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Then did you know a salt fowler's the hardest man to find that we've ever hunted for?" I said, "No." He said, "We can find plenty of foremen. That man that knows what to do with that saw, that's the hardest man to find we've ever hunted for. We've got one of them, Benfield, I'd heard of him, you know." Said he's over the last 5 dams built. Helped clear the dam site. And he said, "Now, me and you stand here talking. And you know what's down there in the edge of water? Saltwood, cypress, tupelo, willers, and maples and things." "Yeah, well, I'll start the load, take a strip out, walk back. Then we got that. You come out here where you're cutting just red oak and hickory and blackjack and stuff like that. Now, do we go down there with that same saw?" I said, "No, sir." "Why not?" I said, "Well, because you got to put as much again set in that and shorten them records in there as much again." Well, and then we got that done. Went right out there 3 years ago. Been a far through that. It's called far kill timber, and half of the bark slipped off. Now, do mean you take that and go out? I said, "No, sir." "Why not?" I said, "Well, because that's dead wood, and he'd play up and down that tree and cut a fir big as your finger before it could ever be settled, and then if you sawed with it, just pile fine dust down on the ground on either side of it. And then what we're going to do, I said, I'm going to raise that, I'm going to lower that gauge much again. I'm going to knock the set out of it, and I get through that, dude, you side down, you'd swear them teeth the same length, them breaks the same length of teeth.
Mm-hmm.
If I get you a job filing saw TV, if you keep my name out of this, I said, I sure will, man. He said, go right now to Hale. I can't talk to him. Why? I told him, he said, can't you push hold of him that way?
Just shove him out of the way.
He said, listen, boy, now if you go up there and do like I tell you, you're hard then, not tomorrow. Because he's going to ask you the same questions I've asked you.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, them benches, you know, the rights for the public. Have you ever met Hale? I said, well, I know. He said, he's a big, tall, heavy built, nice-looking, black-headed man. There's office person on the left right there, and he's continually getting up and going back through that building. Now, you want to cut this off, but we talked a while about that, or you want to go ahead?
Oh, let's go.
Well.
We've got to go.
Okay.
But
And,
anyway, to make a long story short, you did go and you did get the job,
why, sure.
and they liked you.
And I got to file against Benton. I had a 7-mile bend in Cove Creek Bottom up here, and there'd been nothing cut on that.
Were you as good as Benfield?
I beat him.
Oh, that's fine.
Well, my unit foreman, Milo Rachel Brazel, cleared the dam side and built 5 dams above here. Director he come with a handful. I told you about that fella.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he didn't ask no question. I said, you like Jack? He just won $1 a while ago. He said, I got one of those saw from L.H. Bradley, and I bet him one that's over a foot long. $5 on there.
What did you like? Black diamond files?
Well,
Nicholson files?
yeah, they made by Nicholson,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not the file that I know they bought Black Diamonds out. I get them over here at $2.85 for 6 inches, and I bought them here for a quarter from Miss Sal, and I bought them for a quarter. I'm a saw faller, man. Saturday, they'd lay them here through the week. I've had as high as 14 handsaws hanging there in one trip. Didn't know.
Oh, me. I wish we could talk
Oh,
on forever,
A
but we're
woman
going to
come out
have...
here from Benton, where at the Benton paper one time. I was reworking a camper for Jimmy Benson down here. He parked over on the Grand River, and a cyclone come through and threw a big limb over his trailer and woke him up, and he'd been drinking some beer, and he thought he'd wet on himself, and he limped this Irish band he's got up here, and he straightened up and was pouring down the back of his neck. I had to out there rebuild it, and the lady called, wanted to know if I was the man made the fiddle. Well, I said, yep. Sure is. Well, could I talk with him in 45 minutes? Oh, yeah. I said, I'll be
You
there.
made fiddles. You made fiddles,
Oh,
you
man, I
just
played
said.
from square dance like my daddy. He is a champion on that old-time music.
Oh, great.
I shoot.
That's good.
I just give one away. I don't know whether you can see it or not, but the first 3, they'd say, oh, you just took an old and part and reworked it, I didn't varnish this, and then my date's inside where there's no way of writing it. I turned just right to get the light through this hole to read it,
Mm-hmm.
And I started one of them in March 1931. That's when that bad March hit us,
Mm-hmm.
And I had to order the bow hair from Sears and Roebuck, and I had to have let's see. Yeah, I had to make the bow. I got a dead dogwood and made me a bow,
Mm-hmm.
and went out on Dewey's Pond, froze hard enough, got me a dead willow for the lines about like your finger, about so long. Worked it down as long as it didn't get to bend with it, and I lined it one time, and I was playing for March. It's gone.
Yeah, well, great.
Complete out of the
Did
block.
you ever get married, Mr. Sirls?
Married?
Mhm.
It seemed like I did.
Well, whom did you marry?
Johnny Ross.
Johnny Ross.
Yeah.
And did you have any children? Where'd you meet Miss Ross?
I think it is at the Heights schoolhouses have something to do. I believe that's the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd come out of Callaway and got on a shepherd farm down here, and the Heights schoolhouse is close, And Harley Collins got acquainted with her sister older than her, Layla. She wound up at Warren Newton. And so he went with him up there at the Heights. A spelling match, I believe is what it was. And I was sitting close to the back, and I seen him Albie Butler had started courting Johnny. And I seen him sitting down there. Director Harley always cut me up with him, come up there and said, "That you, Jaime?" We was duck squirrel hunting once and shot a squirrel, and some man over on the other side of the creek hollered and wanted to know if that is you, nowadays or something. But he got to call me, "Is that you nowadays? That's you, And so there's something to do at Heights. No, I was there that time. That's the first time, I believe, right there. Yeah.
Go to a pie supper, maybe?
I think it's spelling that. But he come up and got me and carried me down there and introduced me to her. And, of course, I just talked a few words, and I was raised with that.
Love at first sight, was it?
No. That's the first time I seen her. You don't know where I met her.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And going on back home, she was going with Alva, and they was walking, going down to her house, and she said, I seen the prettiest man this evening I've ever seen. What? I said,
Who
yeah,
was he? Was
that
it?
me?
His name was Sirls.
No, Albie Butler's who she's courting. Me and him grew up together.
But the prettiest man was Homer
Me.
Sirls, wasn't he?
Yeah, he sold on her. But they didn't split. So one night they was going to have a candy breaking over at Uncle E. Levis, and it's coming around road that's path cut through, and I was coming out by the age of the yard, and Harlan and a bunch of boys standing out, just moonlight enough to sort of see, not tell who anybody was. And Drake said, "That you, Hammond?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Come here a minute." Well, I didn't notice who the boys was, but the 3 girls sitting on a bed in their room, and the hall door opened back like that. So he got me on the shoulder and said, "What do you think about that?" And I said, "Well, that's more than love to know they're all alive. Now step over there. What do you think about that?" I said, "Not bad." And Al was standing there hearing it, and I didn't know it, see. "How about that?" I said, "Not bad." Moved in. I said, that's mine. If never getting, look at that. And Al, he run, pushed the door back. He couldn't sit down, but he got behind the door, Well, finally she quit incomplete. And David did a joint for her 2 or 3 times, and she told him not to come back. And I met David in the road. We was raised up down there together, And he said, "Why don't you go down on the creek tonight?" I said, "I'm not interested." "Why?" I said, "Now, listen, me and Al Butler was raised together, and he's one of my good buddies, and I don't." Well, Harley told him, said, "You can cut him out." I said, "I don't believe." "No, sir, not me. I think too much of Albert." And he said, "Heck, they'll never go together anymore." So Harley kept on begging. He got me to go down there and talk with her, and after a while, I decided the first girl I'd ever seen. I wasn't never going to marry her growing up. No, I'd heard too much other stuff. But she had the best mother I ever known in my life. She didn't go to sleep without praying first. I'd stay to her lots of nights. She stayed to me a lot. And I thought now she'd just like her, Ooh, pretty black-headed. So I told her, well, didn't have none. It was a hard time, but about Daniel Boone didn't have anyone he married. And so we thought, and so Eric's going to get us married here in Marshall County, ice cream supper at Maple Spring. After dinner, her dad, he wouldn't agree at all. You see, she liked little being 18, but her mother didn't object. But Eric's said he knowed Smith, the county court clerk. So we gave her 3 chances, and neither one of us didn't have sense enough to answer. So we lined up, And he looked at Lynn and said, "You're the one fixing it." "No, it's my sister here." "Well," he said, "and you're Johnny?" "Yeah." "Well," he said, "You been married before?" "Well, Lord, no. I like 2 or 3 days being 18. All you had done is said, "Yeah, take care of him." And well, he said, "I know now your dad is out of the state." And she said, "No, he's gone to Luther Gordon." Got to go to Paris. Well, it's T-Mall, and we in the evening went through Murray, across the river, stay straight ahead and go to Paris. Dirt roads, Well, it's getting late on us, and we found. Do you want to sit that off a few minutes?
No, sir. I need to go right on. You tell me, did you have any children?
Why, sure. Our little baby Willie Ray is a person, and she died of pneumonia, and Dr. Sam Henton could save her. And then Dottie Lou, she's born, she's still living. She lived up here close to Paris, married Kenneth Greer. And then Dale, he got shot down here.